Aloha, everybody. Welcome to the SANDCAST with Bourne and Travis Mewhirter, brought to you by our good friends over at Volleyball Mag. This is a very special episode for us because it's the 1-year anniversary episode of the SANDCAST. Very special anniversary for us.
We made it.
We made it. Ever since our what was it, breakfast? We had a breakfast at the Ocean Diner.
Oceanside Diner.
It was an idea, made it happen. Now we're a year in, people, and we thank you for listening in. So, what we're going to do today is get weird with you. We're going to throw out a bunch of different topics covering everything from this whole past season to the AVP awards, to our bold predictions, to a bunch of other weird stuff that we come up with. And we're going to talk about it, debate about it, and have some fun on this 1-year anniversary SANDCAST episode.
We did, I want to bring up how many episodes we did in 1 year.
Kind of killed it.
We did it, dude. It surpassed all expectations for me. I thought like it would just be like a fun thing we did. So we ended with 75,000 downloads.
Hey,
in our first year. Looking to see how many episodes total we had. I think it was somewhere around like 60.
Yeah.
Let me see. But did you have a favorite episode?
Oh man.
Is there one that stood out to you? I mean, pretty much every time we had one, it was like my new favorite.
Yeah, exactly. There was a lot of different. We got a whole different vibe from each different player. I felt like we got, some people were more goofing around. Some people got serious with us. Got emotional at some points, somewhat.
Yeah, we ended with 60 episodes exactly. So this would be episode 62 because we would have had by this time Wilco. Would have been out. So Wilco 61, this one will be 62. So in our first year, we had 60 episodes, which is probably about 50 more than I thought we'd have. We ended up it was pretty regular.
And it made it really easy because the players were down to come on.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we had to go like really searching for people. It was like, you want to come on? Yep, for sure. Let's go. Everyone was super willing to put their story out there. And that's that's why we did it, right? Was to get people's stories out, let the fans and other players share insights.
Yeah, we started out hot too. We had you were our first one because that was when you were still hurt, and then we had
super hot.
We had Kame, an Olympian, and then we had Phil and April and Sarah Hughes within our first 10 episodes. we got out of the gates pretty fast.
That's true. Well, we wanted to get off to a hot start,
We did.
Set the bar for ourselves.
We did. And
I don't think we went too far off that, though.
No. Our leader in the clubhouse, if anybody was wondering, at the end of SANDCAST was Taylor Crabb. Most downloaded episode was Taylor Crabb.
Damn it.
Number 2.
You beat me. This
is going to surprise a lot of people. Is Eric Zahn.
Ooh, that was a good episode. We got to learn a lot about Eric.
Eric's on number 3. Wow. Sarah Sponsel.
Interesting.
Number 4 was P1440 with Dave Mays.
All right, where's my episode?
5, Bourne.
Oh, right on.
Buddha Bourne. 6 was Phil. 7 was Jake Gibb. 8 was Talking Shit with Trevor Crabb.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
9 was Chase Budinger. And 10, Bourne, you're hogging it. You are 2 top 10 spots is when you made your return from Manhattan.
Oh, and I'm the only one with 2 episodes. So.
You have 60
my
of
game,
them.
So.
All right, so we had 60 episodes. There was our top 10. Do you have a favorite try?
Oh, man, I was just thinking about that. That's super hard. I really liked Jose Loela's.
He was great.
His stories are just so good. Who else did I really like?
My favorite was the one that never got published.
Oh, I wasn't going to say that. We had Ed Ratledge.
That was, I'm okay saying it because I'm the one who messed it up. I messed up Ed Ratledge's perfect interview. One of the best interviews I've done in my journalism career, which is now 12 years in the running. Probably the best interview ever, and I accidentally deleted it.
Other one I liked, I think comes to mind is April's, because
Yeah.
she's dialed in. She gives us plenty of secrets and insights in that one.
Yeah, I think for such a high level athlete, I was surprised at how open she was. Because most of the time when you get to that level, like you can already see it with Sarah Hughes, like giving her speech at the awards banquet. She was just like, Donald Son of the AVP, you're the real
She's got
award
it
winner. It's like,
dialed.
she's got it. It's perfect. Like she's got her media game on point. But April was like really vulnerable and open and honest, which like I loved. I mean, Sarah was too on our podcast, but you can tell like when people are media savvy, it's sometimes a lot harder to get like really good, deep information.
I feel like you go through a phase when you're learning how to deal with the media. First, it's like sometimes you're like just naive and young about and kind of dumb about it, and you're like, oh wait, I should probably learn things that I should and shouldn't say.
Yeah.
But then people get kind of so stuck in that, like, this is what you're supposed to say, and you're supposed to be proper and say things a certain way and thank these people, and that gets boring. And then once you move past like that whole rigid phase, then you can kind of like bring your personality into it. And I think April's like so confident or so comfortable that it comes off just like perfectly.
Yeah.
Now. You get to know her when she talks.
For sure. And then I feel like the next level of that is like Greg Popovich, where you just don't care.
Yeah.
You just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
No filter.
Exactly. I'm waiting to get to that point.
So we're gonna do a mail question, and then we're gonna do a little bit different format, sort of like an around the horn, pardon the interruption, SANDCAST style. We're just gonna take you through a bunch of different topics, put a little timer on it, do a little bit of debating, or just offer our thoughts on it. But we will start with a fan question, and if you guys do want to email us your own fan questions, it is sandcastpodcast@gmail.com. This one is from Jeff Dittman.
Mailbag.
He says, hey, fellas, question for the next mailbag. Obviously, Anders Mole is on fire right now and seems to be considered the best player in the world. Would love to hear both of you guys' opinion on where he stacks up to Phil at Phil's peak, especially since Tri played against peak Phil. Do you think Mole is in Phil's class, and do you think he has a chance to ever catch him? Also would be interested to hear who you each think is the best blocker and the best defender of all time and currently. So I'll try to condense that. So Anders, how he stacks up against peak Phil. Can he catch Phil in the kind of echelons of all-time blockers? And who's the best blocker and defender of all time and currently?
Well, first of all, Anders is ahead of Phil if you look at where he is in his career. Phil wasn't even playing. I don't know what age exactly Phil came over to the AVP, but I know he wasn't winning the top events in the world at age 21.
Yeah.
So he's ahead of him in that sense, in terms of the timeline, but he's got a lot of work to do, obviously. In terms of skill and like potential, I think he could be better than Phil. I mean, Phil, he's got an unbelievable touch. It's like white Kevin Durant. He's like the 7-foot point guard, you know. He's like, he can't guard it. But Phil, if you watch his style of blocking, it's much more simple. He just knows he has good feet. He puts himself in the right spot, times it well. He knows how much court he can take with his massive block. So he basically is going straight over, and he makes moves, smaller moves, but he just takes up so much space that he kind of gives you the same look every time. Anders is making much more complicated and just bigger moves. Like you'll see Anders go up over the net, piking as like armpits over, and then fully reaching into the angle, like really radical moves. I guess that's the way. Right. Yeah, and he has the green light to do whatever he wants. But you don't really see Phil making radical moves where he's like showing one thing huge and then jumping huge in the other direction. Whereas like that's something I would do, but I'm like I'm a hider, right? I try to kind of hide away from naturally I hide away from the hitter, and then I pop up and some other place, right? That's kind of the idea. But Phil knows he's not trying to hide from people. He shows you where he is, and then he makes big moves up top, and he reads really well, keeps his head up. Anders is kind of a hybrid between the two. Like he's making these big radical moves, but he also gets up like Phil. And he has the hands. He can pass. He can literally do it all. So, I mean, skill-wise, he could be surpassing Phil. I would that's always going to be a debate, but I think he's right there. The only thing is he plays for Norway. So how many partners is he going to have to choose from over the years, right? To be able, like, look how many partners Phil's been successful with. 3, I guess. It's not that many, but, like, to be, like, top of the world with 3 separate partners, that's impressive. Is Norway going to have 3 defenders over the years that are going to be capable of that? Or is Christian going to be as good as Anders throughout these? Is he going to be bought in? Is he going to want to play for that many years?
Can his shoulder withstand that many swings?
That many serves, yeah, exactly. So he has a smaller sample size to choose from. Like, I mean, right now he has 1 defender, 2 defenders to choose from. And that's it. Whereas Phil came in, everyone saw that he was a freak, and then the top defender on tour at the time picked him up. So that's why I think Phil and Todd were able to make such an amazing run. But, I mean, when I'm playing against him, match point when we played him in Vegas, I saw him make amazing moves the whole tournament, but I was ready for him to make them. And then match point, I made like a super radical cut hit across my body, and I saw him lining up on me. I was like, came off my hand. It was perfect. I thought for sure, like no looker, like really radical. And he somehow read it and like fully committed to it. His arms fully horizontal across the net and blocked it. I was like, all right. That's just ridiculous.
Take it.
Like, I hit that ball exactly how I wanted to, and I thought that there's no way you could reach it, and you reached it. So it's not even a mistake on my part. I just didn't know you could do that. So now I have to remember that next time.
Things he can do are pretty absurd.
Yeah.
I would say that, like, on paper, when you talk about physical skills, there are a lot of people who have all the physical skills at that level. Like,
right.
the one person that I think of a lot is Christian Varenhorst. Right, because he was really young when he played in the 2015 World Championships with Numerdor, and it would have been really easy to peg him as the next top blocker in the world because he can hand set, he passes well, he sides out like every time. Like he hasn't really hit that next level yet.
That's not the same caliber of touch and athleticism, agility, right. You know.
But when you talk about like
he's like a
footer,
bigger dude. Yeah, he's big, hits the crap out of it. He's not like hitting like delayed cut shots and like digging balls with his like knuckle pokey from his hip like Phil does, like doesn't even acts like he's not trying. Whereas like Phil and Anders are making ridiculous plays like that. I watched the highlight of my match in Vegas again, and I hit the best serve I could have hit, like the one where he wasn't ready for it, and he just dove to the line. He's down in his hands, somehow passes it perfect, and then just Yahtzeed it down Trevor's line, like after being on his hands and knees, like in the backcourt. I was like, all right, there's nothing I could have done. There's nothing more I could have done on that. I freaking did. I put out the best serve, and but he's a freak in that sense.
Yeah, but I think what's probably going to separate him most is his mental game. Mm-hmm. So I think that what we've seen, like Phil looks really bored out there, and it looks like he's lost like that enthusiasm and like zest for beach volleyball. Like you watch like when him and Nick won Austin and the film from that to the film now, and he's just like, oh, well, he got pretty jacked up in Hawaii though, and in Manhattan. But a lot of times when they win, it's like, oh, thank God that's over. Yeah. But like with Anders, like when we had him on, he just loves everything about this life. Like he loves the traveling, he loves winning, he loves playing. Like even when they lost in Hawaii, he was like, yo, let's go. I get to hike.
He's very horny for volleyball.
Yeah. I know he's 21 and that's gonna happen, but like when you're talking about if he can reach Phil in terms of like all-time best blockers, like if he's that jacked up about volleyball all the time, there's no reason why he wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, and he's ahead of him as of right now, to be honest. In my opinion.
Yeah, and I think, too, one of the things that, with any sport, we measure people by their success on the biggest stages.
Right? That's true. So, we talked to Phil about that.
Yeah.
And we were trying to give Phil credit for being pretty much arguably the best blocker ever, and he's like, well, but look what Alisson's done. He has more Olympic medals, more world champs.
Yeah.
So
and you look at Anders,
that's a good point.
His first year playing in the big stage tournaments, he wins 4.
Right.
In a row.
But now he needs a world champ. Now it's the world champs.
Yeah.
I think World Tour Finals has heavyweight.
For sure.
It should.
But, for first year, he wins Vienna, Hamburg, Stade, back to back to back.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy for
ridiculous.
a kid who was 20 for one of the tournaments, I think.
Now they're going to have a target on their back, by the way. So now guys like me who felt him block that ball where I'm like, I didn't think that was possible. Like, I hit the shot that I wanted to hit, and you still blocked it. Now we go into the games knowing that. So we build our game plans based on, we're going to hit the ball at 45 degrees up and just hopefully it touches his hands.
I feel like
whatever the strategy is, maybe swing for his face, because that's what we had to do for Phil, so that he stop blocking those low angles. You have to swing at his face.
Yeah, I think too with their rise, we're almost forgetting about Andre. He's 22 years old.
Yeah, that's a good
He's
point.
already won a world championship. And like him and Evandro, when they were playing together, like they won a ton.
I'm not sold on Andre. First of all, his game's just not pretty to me.
Yeah.
I don't like watching it.
It's kind of like watching Sean Marion shoot threes.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Why is it going in?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Or Jim Furyk hit a golf ball.
So maybe that has something to do with it, but I don't know. I think Andres will be solid for years, but I don't think dominant. Any team that gets chemistry together at the right time can win a string of events. But to be Hall of Fame status in this sport, which Anders is, it's very early, but he's on that path as of right now.
Yeah, there's just so many like young stars on the FIVB that like even like Cantor and Losiak, they've been around for a few years. They're only 26 and 28. Evandro and Andre are both in their 20s. Pedro's only 30.
And it's how much do you get burnt out? Who's going to get burnt out?
Yeah. I feel like that's like, you look at a lot of the Brazilians, and I mean, aside from Ricardo and Emmanuel, like a lot of them burn out really fast.
Bruno and Alisson certainly
Bruno and
seem burnt out.
Alisson look like they're carrying some dead weight around with them on the volleyball court.
Yeah.
Like, how long is it going to take?
Too much picanha. That's a Brazilian steak, by the way.
We'll cover our last topic, currently best blocker and defender in the world. I think we both established that Anders is the best blocker in the world right now. Best defender in the world at the moment.
Men only?
Men.
Best defender in the world. Well, shoot, man. Fijalek's been playing really good as of late. And in terms of, like, the way I look at it is like pound for pound. Like how small he is and what he can do with that ball and the reads he's making, I would argue for him as of late, because I saw him back in 2014. He and Phil and Rosie, him and Prudel were the top team in the world. And when he was on that run, I got to watch him. I was just like, whoa, like this guy can make. He understands the game at the next level. But I mean, you could argue for Taylor Crabb for sure.
I think like the top like 3 on my list, top 4, because I would have forgot about Fijalek, would be Bartosz Losiak. I think is probably my number 1. Mm-hmm. Then you have Taylor, Christian Sorum, Fijalek, and I think Alex Brower probably belongs on that short list.
Yeah. I'm thinking more of pure defense. I wouldn't put Alex in there on pure defense, but
just
like
because his volume of digs just is not.
Yeah, his volume
there.
of digs and the reads, and like I'm thinking like just who
also,
like grasps
your
the
boy Krasilnikov.
concept.
He should be on that list too.
I know he usually would be on the list, but then when we played him in Vegas, I was like,
He had kind of a tough year.
Yeah,
it just didn't really.
Well, he had partner switches and all that stuff, but yeah, I like Taylor, Sorum, and Fijalek.
I would go.
But whoever's getting the most medals is the best one right now. Yeah. Well, but they don't have. Not everyone has Anders in front of them.
True. My pick would be Losiak.
All right.
Yeah, I'm also biased because like that's my biggest
you
man crush team.
Got it.
All right, so that's it for the mail questions. I'll give you a quick recap of the AVP Banquet. And I know a lot of people were asking how the awards were decided. It was player votes. So the players voted on the awards, and that's how they were given out. It wasn't done on like a point system or anything. We're going to pause real quick for a word from our sponsors who keep the show moving. We are incredibly grateful for all of our sponsors and all of you, the listeners, who keep the show moving and keep moving us forward. Couldn't do it without you. And now it's nuts that how fast the AVP season went by. But since it is over now, it is probably time that you re-upped on your volleyballs. I know that mine have turned to a kind of brownish yellow color, so I know it's time for me to re-up on my volleyballs. I'm sure it is time for you too as well. So go to wilsonvolleyball.com, use the discount code WilsonSand to get 20% off of all purchases at wilsonvolleyball.com. This show is also brought to you, as always, by our guys at volleyballmag.com. They are your daily digital news source for all things volleyball. They got indoor covered. They got beach covered, whether it's from Stade to Hermosa Beach. Ed Chan has the best pictures in the game. Lee Feinswag has the most insightful interviews. Every now and then I contribute something that might be worthless, might be worthwhile reading. I'm not sure, but if you're looking for volleyball news, make sure to go to volleyballmag.com, your daily digital news source for all things volleyball. We would also like to welcome Volley Camp Hermosa as a new sponsor of the show. If you're listening, you've probably heard of Volley Camp Hermosa. It is the place to go to get better at beach volleyball. Whether you are planning a trip to Hermosa Beach, California, the mecca of beach volleyball, or live locally, they have professional coaches to take your game to the next level. For those making the beach volleyball pilgrimage, they offer week-long adult training camps that are the complete beach volleyball experience. If you live locally or you can't join a camp, you can take their weekly classes and or private training. All levels are welcome, from A to AAA to open. Sign up online at www.volleycamphermosa.com. I'll say that one more time, www.volleycamphermosa.com. Or for more information, you can just give them a call. It is 234-PLAY-VCH. Or you can email them, info@volleycamphermosa.com. We will see you guys on the sand. And of course, we always love our sponsors at PacificCoastWealthManagement.com, because if your financial plan goes beyond making it into the main draw of an AVP volleyball tournament, check out our online planning tool at PacificCoastWealthManagement.com. We all know that you beach volleyball players need to put that oodles of prize money somewhere. You might as well start it with Pacific Coast Wealth Management. So when you get to the site, click on their link, build your financial plan here, and work with a licensed fiduciary advisor who can discuss everything from 401ks, IRAs, life insurance, estate plans, tax strategy, Social Security, investments, or good old stock tips, also known as a lot of stuff that beach volleyball players genuinely don't know a whole lot about, which is why we need the help with our guys at Pacific Coast Wealth Management. Business owners who need to offer benefits, retirement, or pension plans for their employees, partners, or themselves, you can give them a call too. Or 529 college savings or Roth IRA for your kids. Did you know that you can give $15,000 a year to your kid? I know when I was a kid, I wouldn't have minded that. Start with your favorite volleyball player by connecting with us at Pacific Coast Wealth Management on Instagram, or www.pacificcoastwealthmanagement.com, or you can give them a call, 949-637-7052. Again, that is 949-637-7052. A lot of the listeners of the show are professional athletes, and as we all know, you cannot have enough recovery, which is why the show is also brought to you by our good friends at fireflyrecovery.com. So what Firefly Recovery is, it is a wearable device that simulates blood flow throughout the damaged or sore or afflicted area, say a knee. And what you do, you just strap it on, and it helps you recover much faster. So when you are on that 12-hour flight to Stade or a 36-hour trip to South Africa, you can put this on, and you're not going to get that super sore, kind of swollen feeling that you get after you fly on planes. Actually, you can make your trip productive by putting on Firefly Recovery, helping heal up that area, getting off, and you're going to be playing the best volleyball of your life. So give them a visit at fireflyrecovery.com. Let us know what you think, and use the discount code SANDCAST in all caps for a 10% off. All right, that is SANDCAST, all caps, for 10% off at fireflyrecovery.com. And now, back to the show. So the winners of the AVP Banquet, the MVP was Taylor Crabb and April Ross. The Defender of the Year was Taylor Crabb and Sarah Hughes. Blocker of the Year, and I lost $10 to Trevor Crabb on this because I bet the field against Phil, and Phil Dahlhauser won, as did Alex Kleinman. Offensive Player of the Year, April Ross and Phil Dahlhauser, although Ed Ratledge did point out that he did have the highest hitting percentage on tour by the end of the year. Just throwing that out there. Rookie of the Year goes to Chase Budinger and Brittany Howard, who has been on SANDCAST. So huge congrats to them. Team of the Year, Jake and Taylor and the A-Team. And the last one was Server of the Year was Jeremy Casepier, and Gina Urango dethroned April Ross. And then there was an announcement, too, so here we'll get into the time section. Announcement that John Mayer is hanging it up. He is calling it a career after, I believe, 13 AVP seasons.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Really big deal. I think that's kind of the first really impactful retirement, I feel like.
In a while,
I've been waiting for this for a while now. When are these old guys going to start leaving? No, but yeah, I mean, Mayer's been a top guy since I came on tour. So it's, I think he's had a pretty big impact on the sport, you know, being like the first player to like really embrace being a college coach and like go into that. First current player to do that, which is very difficult. Yeah, man, that he's been around for a long time.
Yeah, and I just love the way, and a lot of people give Mayer and Billy Allen and sort of the less emotional guys crap for how they carry themselves, and they're not super fiery, but like I love it. If you can find a single bad word about John Mayer, then you must have done some serious digging and like gone way into the history books, because there's no reason to ever say like a bad word about John Mayer. Like I talk to him just about random books all the time, and like he has the time for me to talk about like reading, and like he'll give me, and I know that he's been a big influence on Ben Vaught. That I think that's like Ben Vaught loves Ed Ratledge and John Mayer a ton. He like looks up to them, and he always just takes the time. Like if Ben has a question, and he always has questions.
Yeah, he does.
Mayer will always take the time to answer them, and like so will Billy and Ed and like all those guys, and like that's just kind of the guy that John is. So I know that he's getting into coaching. Yeah. And I know that
or he's focusing on coaching now.
Yeah, well,
rather than splitting his time.
He's focusing on coaching at LMU, and he's already got a couple clients on the AVP.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I'm sure didn't take long at all.
Exactly.
So it'll be fun to see him in a different role, because like I mean, you look at Jen Kessie, picked it up really fast. Yeah. She did great work.
I mean, in terms of like, obviously he's a coach now, so it makes sense. But like in terms of guys that you're playing against and you can tell they just understand the game at a different level, that's Johnny Mayer.
Yeah.
And man, I've played him some events where whenever it's jumper sand, so he's obviously shorter, so it helps us taller guys. But man, when he can get up and it was jumper sand, it was like he'd hit you on like every speed, every corner of the court. Like there's no like take this away, and then he can't do that. He'll eat you up on something.
Yeah.
And I remember playing him actually in Huntington when we came back and beat him in the finals, but that was like 2015. But the match we played him before that, he just lit us up. So we had to come out of the losers bracket to go play them in the finals because he just lit us up in that shallow Long Beach sand.
Yeah.
But I remember it was like, all right, we were making adjustments every play. All right, he did this, we're going to do this. And then he'd like jumbo us. We're like, all right, we didn't plan for that. All right, he did this, he's not hitting. And then he'd come in and go fast. And then like, all right, take this. And he'd adjust perfectly. So yeah, I talked to Trevor as well. And Trevor said when he was playing with him, the whole time he was thinking like, John Mayer is going to be a pretty badass coach when he's done. I mean, obviously he was already a coach, but now John Mayer's going to take on a pro team, and I don't know if we'll let them announce it maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll let that announcement who he's coaching, because it's a new partnership he's taking over.
Right. But yeah, congrats to Johnny Mayer.
Yeah.
And we got to get him on the show.
Yeah, I think that's we'll get him on here pretty soon. And one more thing on Mayer's. So the very first AVP tournament I ever saw in person was New Orleans of 2015. I think my first year playing volleyball, so I was all giddy about it. And Mayer, I watched him play in the finals against Jake and Casey I think. And me and JD Hamilton, my buddy there, we thought that Mayer had superpowers because like, it looked like he was never trying. And then like all of a sudden he just like turned it on and just took over. Mm-hmm. And they lost 21-9 in the first set and came back and won the final. So
dang.
He was just giving the people what they wanted, just delaying the superpowers.
Yeah. He's got the mental game down for sure. He's never rattled.
No. So congrats to Mayer on an awesome career, and I might have to snag him up as a coach.
And thank God.
All right. So now for our time topics, we have
we tend to ramble, so we're gonna time ourselves.
Yeah. So there were three awards that kind of had some discussion around them. The first was Taylor Crabb winning MVP over Phil Dahlhauser.
Am I starting the timer?
Yeah, and you can start the discussion.
When you guys hear,
that's
since Halloween just happened.
Yeah,
that's when we're gonna change topics because we ramble too much.
So try Taylor over Phil. Who did you vote for, or are you keeping that anonymous?
Oh, I think I voted for Taylor. Partially because it's like the LeBron thing where it's like, all right, someone new needs to win. But I thought Taylor not carried Jake. Like, Jake's making unbelievable plays, but this year he was definitely saving them at moments. You know, the year would have gone a lot differently if Taylor hadn't stepped up at certain moments, and that's kind of MVP caliber playing. And I think it's exciting for the sport to have a new MVP, and I think it's exciting for the Hawaiians.
Yeah,
because now we got
boys are just taking over.
An outrigger boy holding the MVP crown, and
at what 26?
Two other ones that are dying to steal it from him.
At 26 years old.
Taylor's 27, I think.
27,
maybe 26. Yeah,
probably one of the younger ones to win MVP.
Oh yeah,
for a while because I know. I mean, it's been Phil. Mayer won in 2015. Probably Phil.
Phil wins. I think Phil wins every year.
Yeah, so probably I'd have to go back and look to see like when the last time someone this young won MVP of the AVP, but I feel like it's been a minute.
I think, did Gibb get it? But yeah, that's the same thing.
Yeah. I voted for Taylor too. Mm-hmm. Just because I feel like obviously you look at what happened in Manhattan and like Phil hits a gear that I don't think anyone in the world, like not even Anders, has right now. Like even Phil at I don't know how old he is. Like
his confidence is
30s,
just
like,
out of this world. Phil's confidence, because I mean that's reality. The reality is when he turns it on, whenever he's chosen to turn it on, he's taken over and won the match for his team.
Yeah.
Like basically every time. So like that's just the reality in his mind, is like, I'm that good. I just have to turn it on.
Yeah.
But consistency is what makes greatness, and I think his drive to keep going and to play at that level hasn't been there, and that's part of greatness. That's part of being an MVP, and I don't think he maintained that throughout the entire season like Taylor did.
Yeah, and I think Taylor also, like his knack for making the absurd plays. There's our timer.
I think you can talk through the timer. I saw it on Pardon the Interruption.
He just makes like absurd plays. Like you look in Manhattan, that was one of the greatest defensive performances I've seen. Then in Stadt, he did the same thing too. Like he does things that are at a world tour level that like, for U.S. defenders, that's awesome to see. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I voted for him partly because of the LeBron thing. That like, of course, Phil, like you put Phil on any team and they're going to win the most events probably. But Taylor's getting up there. Like you put Taylor on a team and they're probably going to win. Like him and Trevor made every single semifinal in a row in their last partnership. Yeah. So you talk about consistency. Taylor's there.
Yep.
Topic number 2, another youngin' taking over. Sarah Hughes won Defender of the Year over April Ross. Although April Ross did win MVP, which is kind of a strange thing.
Could make sense.
Yeah. If we could vote,
I like it.
Ballot,
I think. I mean, the peers voted, right?
Yeah.
So players voted for this, and I think it comes down to just pure, like what we were talking about with the guy defenders before, is who's just purely a good defender. Like Brower's a great defender, but he's a hybrid guy that's going to side out. He can dig 3 balls and side all 3 out, whereas a defender making unreal reads might dig 5 or 6 balls and put 3 away.
Right.
But I like to judge defense as who are the guys that can make the read, or girls who can make the reads, come up with the digs, all those actual defensive skills. And I think that's Sarah. April gets by on a little bit more athleticism. She's not. I don't see her fundamentals and technique quite as fine-tuned as Sarah's. And Sarah's seeing the game and talking to. You can see her communicating with Summer, and I just feel like she's got a really good grasp on it. And I think she is the best pure defender on tour.
Yeah, I think I would classify like best defenders like. If I'm trying to side out, who do I not want to see over there? And like you're right, like some of the like the bigger defenders like Brower, like you're probably going to be able to put a lot more balls down. Like he'll transition more often, but like you're not going to be freaking out if you get served.
Right.
Like, God, I got to do something spectacular. And I think Sarah makes you hit probably a little bit better of a shot. Although I think also what makes April such a spectacular defender too is that like her serve is so good.
True.
That she's often like teams are so out of system a lot of times that they have to hit these, like she'll get digs because of her serve.
Yeah, that's why I think you got to take that out. You got to take serving out, take blocking out, or take attacking out. Who's just the best pure defender? And I think that's Sarah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too. Perfect, we nailed it.
Nice.
Then the last AVP award that was a little bit that added some discussion was that Team of the Year went to Jake and Taylor, and Jake was stoked about this. He got some pretty good emotion out of him at the banquet.
Yeah,
they won over Phil and Nick.
What?
Taylor's speech was great. Team of the Year. Was it Jake and Taylor or Phil and Nick in your mind?
What was the tournament breakdown? Tournament
God.
win breakdown? Let's recap this.
I mean, they saw each other in the finals so many times.
Right.
Well, Taylor was also in the finals with Tim Baumgren in Austin. Mm-hmm. So
you can have. Well, that's not the team. That's why you got MVP.
And then New York, Phil and Nick won the finals. And then they went to Seattle. Jake and Taylor won that one, I think.
Yep, they beat Phil and Nick.
They beat Phil and Nick in. They weren't there in San Francisco.
Right.
Manhattan. Phil and Nick won. Got Taylor's swing was like 1 inch long. Hermosa.
Hayden, Theo
and Theo beat Ryan and Billy. I think they were both gone for that one, yeah. No, Taylor and Jake lost in the semis.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah. Sounds about right. Yeah, they were there.
And then Chicago.
Taylor and Jake.
So pretty even.
I think it comes down to it was like that Seattle, like Taylor and Jake when they lost were just so close. Taylor had a swing for Manhattan, and then they pulled out Seattle. Actually, they won Seattle pretty handedly. There's a little bit of the LeBron thing in here, I think. People are sick of Phil and Nick winning, but I don't know. I just think, I don't know. That's tough. I think I voted for Nick and Phil, to be honest. I don't remember exactly, but it's just like what team at their best is the best.
Yeah.
That team's much scarier.
I think I voted for Jake and Taylor just because probably the LeBron factor, and they just look like they're having more fun when they win.
Right. And I think that's a legitimate point.
But also, what gave them the edge for me was their international at the end of the year. They just had a stronger finish. Mm-hmm. Like, taking fourth in Stade, Taylor had a swing for match against Anders and Christian, a cut shot that, like, somehow Christian picked up. Yeah. So, like, I looked at their international finishes as what pushed them over. Even though Phil and Nick had a great start to the year,
and the King
Taylor
of the
and
Court.
Jake just finished better.
And they won the whole King of the Court tour.
Yeah. So I kind of went on, like, a recency bias.
Right.
But, so that sums up our debates for the AVP Banquet Awards. Now, our predictions for 2019. So 2019, Try, who do you predict is going to win MVP?
For the women?
This will be just men.
Oh, great. Yeah, like I said earlier, dude, I can't bet against myself, because that means I'm saying that this player's gonna play better than me, and their team's probably gonna do better than me, and I just can't say that. So can I have no answer? Or are you gonna make me vote for myself?
You're allowed to make a case for yourself here. There are no rules on SANDCAST.
If I had to put my money somewhere, I mean, I can only control what I do, so I'll just put my money on myself. Because someone else could cop out and quit.
Yeah.
I don't want to bet on that.
I'm gonna put my money safely. I'm gonna have an index
Don't worry, I won't be
on
offended.
on the Outrigger Canoe Club. Outrigger will win an MVP award next year.
Outrigger. Ooh.
It'll either be Taylor, you. I think Madison, not MVP, but he could win a breakthrough. I think Outrigger will just
Outrigger's gonna
bring
break through
it home
next year?
next year. Yeah.
All right.
Who knows? Maybe Micah Ma will just pop out on the beach and win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. But of course, you can't rule out the Phils.
But honestly, I would my vote would either be for you or Taylor. Just because you look at what you did without really training much in just a couple events. You were a triple ace away from winning a bronze medal and a 4-star.
Yeah. I also think the way that Trevor and I play is our stats aren't going to be good. We're basically taking ourselves out of best defender and best blocker categories.
Yeah.
Because we're getting half the reps. Or it'll just be badass if we do get the most blocks, only being at the net half the time. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of potential out there.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't give the best answer there, but
it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Best team, 2019.
Come on, dude. Best team. It's going to be interesting to see how Jake progresses.
Yeah.
I thought his game, he's good. I mean, he's just so good at the game that he can do the simple things, which makes it really easy for Taylor to be spectacular behind him. But, how long can Taylor do that for? And then people, I think, will be putting more and more pressure on Jake. But I don't think that's a given necessarily. Phil and Nick, if they decide to put more time into the AVP over the World Tour, I think they could have it, because I've heard rumors that they might be putting more time into their domestic tour this year. But yeah, obviously me and Trevor are trying to. I'm not good at these ones, dude. I'm giving a bunch of answers.
Yeah.
It hurts me too much to say, hey, this team's gonna beat me. They're gonna whip me all year.
Yeah. See, I'm not quite at that tier yet, so I have no problem picking who's gonna beat me. Best team for me, I'll take a flyer and go with Reed and Jeremy.
Ooh.
Just to mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
And also because they're really close.
Right.
They're whatever it is that just hasn't clicked for them is really close to getting over it. Reed's progressing at a pretty alarming rate.
Yeah.
For only having been back on the beach full time for the second year.
Definitely.
And Jeremy, you see his game, the touch is getting there a lot, and he's hitting shots.
Not just ripping it every time.
Yeah. So I would go with them just because, and they seem committed to each other, which I think is big, that they're kind of losing well together, or learning to lose together and figuring it out.
Yeah.
Because they got better with every tournament.
Yeah. That's kind of a breakthrough team, I guess you could say. I mean, if me and Trevor were winning, that'd be a breakthrough.
Yeah.
Because we haven't proven it yet. Well, I guess we won an FIVB, but AVP-wise, we have to go prove it. Jake and Taylor, Phil and Nick are still the kings out there right now. And Hayden and Doherty?
Yeah. Hayden and Doherty reuniting.
We'll see.
I'm curious, you mentioned that you won the FIVB 3-star. What would be bigger for you, FIVB 3-star or kind of a watered-down AVP, like a San Francisco? Where a couple of the top teams are missing, but it's still
for
an
sure FIVB.
3-star.
Yeah. Because you get a medal.
You do get a medal. But you had to go to China.
A 3-star, well, it depends what timing. Like, yeah, it's Olympic qualification. Like, I have a few AVP victories, so for me to add a San Francisco CBVA would be would be amazing. Like, that's a huge accomplishment. Like, I don't care if no one's there. These are the top players in the country. Top guys aren't there maybe, but it's a huge accomplishment. Just like a 3-star, top guys aren't going to be there, but we're talking about the world tour.
Yeah.
You know? I just think it's a little harder, the world tour. A 3-star at a world tour is a little deeper. And you're traveling overseas, and there's a lot of pressure on it, whereas San Francisco AVP, not quite as deep, right? I mean, if the top guys aren't there, then we're playing qualifier guys in the first few rounds, so now you got to win 2 matches.
You're welcome.
To really... You got to win two legit matches to win the championship.
Yeah.
But I would take it any day of the week, and I wouldn't prepare any less for either of those tournaments.
All right. That was our added spontaneous
Bonus.
topic. Breakthrough athlete of the year next year for 2019. We're not going to do rookie or newcomer because no one really knows what the difference is. So we're just breakthrough athlete. Who do you think is going to have a big year next year?
I think breakthrough athlete.
I think you've already won it, so I don't know if you can get it again.
Breakthrough? I don't know. I think, breakthrough's got to be someone who hasn't won before.
Yeah.
Or hasn't, really
Hasn't had a dominant year.
dominated.
It's like
yeah.
Taylor couldn't win.
Right. I mean, yeah, because he's MVP already.
Right.
I was thinking about the girls' side, too. I feel like Kelly Reeves is due. She's really athletic back there, and I think a big part that has to do with it is Brittany Howard's getting more coordinated and confident and stronger and all that, like really growing into her body as a professional. So to have that at the net, and then Kelly, you could tell she's really, she's trying to learn the sport. She's trying to learn a lot, and I think that is a sign of someone who's about to break through.
Yeah. My pick for that would be Kelly Larson.
Mm-hmm.
Her and Emily Stockman had a really good year internationally, and then they just kind of had a lot of narrow misses
Right.
on the AVP. And she was a beast at Pepperdine. I didn't even realize how good she was. She was first person in Pepperdine history with 100 wins.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's
crazy.
crazy.
I agree, man.
So I think her and Emily Stockman are dark horse Olympic team.
Ooh.
The women's side for the Olympics is going to be nuts. There's 5 or 6 teams who could do it.
There's another topic.
Yeah, we'll throw it in there. We do have an Olympic qualifier section, so we'll just throw our Olympic predictions in there.
Alrighty. We got time's up.
Did you want to throw a breakthrough men's athlete in there?
Breakthrough men's athlete. This one's not as much because of my bias, but I actually think that the progress I'm seeing with Trevor Crabb, the way he's looking at the game, his confidence with it. I mean, he's always been confident. Even if he's not winning, he's confident.
Not Trevor.
Yeah. But I don't know, just the way I'm hearing him talk about it, and I think he's been close. Everyone's teasing him, never Trevor, for so long. But, I mean, winning the 3 FIVBs, lower level FIVBs this year, I think next year he's ready to make that change, and it's going to have to happen.
I'm going to go with Stafford. I think Stafford's another guy who's been really close to, because when him and Billy played in 2017, they were so good. I mean, they made 3 straight AVP finals. They won one, and then they split. Both had kind of a year that I think they'd probably call disappointing. And then I think that it'll be out. Now they're playing together again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I think that Billy's the perfect partner for Stafford because he's really level-headed, super ball control oriented, and they had success. I don't really know why they split in the first place after that year.
Yeah, I thought that was a bad call on Stafford's part. He wanted to jump up to the Olympic partner with more points and all that when he had a great year.
Yeah. But I think a lot of times, when you leave your partner, that you had a lot of success with, and then you don't have success, you realize like just how good you were together. Like you look at on a much smaller scale, like Ben Vaught and Brandon Clemens split up for like 3 events. They both had 3 terrible events, and then they got back together and qualified the rest of the year. So I think like on a larger scale, now you look at Stafford and Billy could get back together and start winning those tournaments they were both like narrowly missing this year.
Right.
3 topics left. The King of the Court. Just kind of want your thoughts on it. It had 4 events this year. I think they have 4 lined up next year too, and looking to scale to get bigger and bigger. What were your thoughts on it? Like you played on it.
Man,
I wasn't able to, obviously.
It's really exciting. You should listen to the podcast with Wilco Nijland. I think that's how you say it. But he's the creator of the King of the Court, and we had him on, and it's pretty awesome, to be honest. I kind of was just like, yeah, whatever, I'll show up and play if you're going to pay me. But it makes you think about the sport in different ways. It's really fun for the players. Maybe more fun for the fans. Like, there's no way to be more engaged in beach volleyball than the King of the Court. And we talk about it a lot on that podcast. But I also think they want to get up to like 10 events, and it's just a lot of opportunity out there for the players right now, and that's pretty rad, I think. And they're collaborating with FIVB and AVP. They're playing nicely, which is the first promoters to come in and play nicely with everyone else. So I think it's impressive, and I highly recommend any volleyball fans that are nearby to come check out King of the Court when it's near you.
Yeah, and like I think probably the most common refrain from beach volleyball players for so long is the lack of opportunities to make money. Like here comes King of the Court with what, $450,000 per event.
Yeah, no, it's
like that's
it's
obscene.
It's solid money.
With 4 extra events, it's world tour class, so like it's best in the world. Like you have these extra 4 events now. Like it's just we have 4 different promoters now throwing big money events. We have the FIVB, King of the Court, P1440 AVP. Like beach volleyball players are doing okay. The top ones are. At least you have the chance to do so.
Exactly. That's the idea. And I'm very excited about it.
2 more sections left. We'll get into the other promoter currently having new events, P1440. They just consolidated their event from San Diego, and Huntington made it into one event. I played P1440 in San Jose. You played in Vegas, although it was like P1440 FIVB. But what were your thoughts just on the setup? There's a lot more going on at a P1440 than like at a standard domestic event. I don't know if...
Yeah, I thought the event was good. I thought they took good care of us. I mean, we were in Vegas. They put us up at MGM Grand, and the catering was great. So food, I mean, you're halfway there. The setup I thought was great. It was nice with those like AstroTurf around all the courts, and the stadium was nice. Everything was good, but they didn't fill the stands, and they didn't really get, all. I don't think all their events around volleyball were successful, but that's really just a matter of getting people to come to the events. The level of volleyball is good, as high as AVPs usually, right? Because they have international, sometimes better. But they just got to figure out, get some momentum. I think they're onto something good. They're putting on a great event. It's just a matter of getting people to buy into like, oh, I wonder what's happening on the P1440. Like AVP, I think a lot of people think of it as America's tour. So it's like between the Americans, when the Americans battle that out, the winners win AVPs. P1440 is a mixture of like random teams around the world, so it's a little harder to follow and like really get behind the team, But if you want to watch great volleyball, it's certainly there, and it's good events.
Yeah, I mean the product, like it's definitely not the product that's the problem.
No,
that like why people wouldn't show up. I think it's just a matter of just advertising, getting it out there.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think Huntington will be a good barometer for it to see, because like Vegas is not a traditional place to have a beach volleyball event. That was the first international event they've ever had there.
Right.
But Huntington, obviously, like We've seen crowds at Huntington.
Right.
So we'll see.
That's true. If they can't fill the stands in Huntington, then maybe they make some changes.
I think it'll be a better test of where they're at.
Mm-hmm. And I think as long as they're willing to kind of adapt and change, like there's room for them in the sport.
Yeah.
They just got to figure out.
And they've shown a willingness to do that too, I think, because like this is their third event with the third different format.
They seem very willing to kind of, yeah, exactly. Like you said, they're willing to do it. It's just whether they can have the right concept to pitch to all the other people in AVP so that they can, that it's worth their time. And AVP doesn't have to be defensive about it,
Right.
Whereas right now they're still like both on thin ice. Like, we're not going to help you. You're not going to help us. But you look at Wilco with King of the Court. He came in, hey, everyone, how can I help? Yeah. He brought in a different sport though. So it's not, you're not really competing. He's like, how can I help? And he changes rules every day. If you listen to the podcast, Wilco, we play one day and then he comes up to us that night at dinner and he's like, I changed the rules. Good luck tomorrow. And we're like, okay.
And our last topic is the Olympic qualification process. It's underway. So just shedding a little bit of light on it. So the Olympic point system is done. The 2 spots, well, if we get 2 spots, it takes your best 12 events over the 2 calendar years leading up to the Olympics. And that clock has started with, I think the first one was the one in China.
Kinshou, yeah.
That you and Trevor won.
Right.
So congrats.
Hot start.
You're at the top.
We were out of the blocks real quick.
Me and Ben Vaught, we're on there.
But yeah. But look what happens at the Olympics when everyone beats Usain Bolt out of the blocks. It's a long race. And I know that this time around.
Yeah. So predictions. Top 2 teams, women, for the U.S.
Women, I'm thinking, and there's, like you said earlier, there's some dark horses.
I would say there. Like legitimately, like 6 teams could do it.
Let's say who's the top.
All right, so we got.
Let's say who's the top 2 and the reserve.
April Alex,
right.
Sarah Summer, I think are the clear and cut favorites. But then you have like Kelly Clays and Sarah Sponsel making a run at it.
So who's
Kelly
that?
Larson, Emily Stockman.
Who's going to give those teams the best run? Name them again.
We have Alex and April, Sarah Summer, Sponsel Clays. We don't know who Carrie's going to make a run with. She said Brooke Sweat. We'll see if that sticks.
Right.
We don't know what Fendrick is doing, what Nicole Brann is doing, Caitlin Ledoux, Kelly Larson and Emily Stockman, Betsy Flint and Emily Day. Like there's a lot
of those.
Like Betsy and Emily just beat Sarah and Summer in Vegas.
I think if 2 of those team players, a few of those players switched up, and
then you have like Brittany Hochever. She's a free agent.
Hooch.
Yeah.
Hooch. Man, I don't know who that 3rd place team would be. It's hard to count Carrie because she's just like, mentally, she's just like, holds herself at the highest possible level. And when you believe that, it tends to become true. Brooke's also already an Olympian, and she's certainly going to come back hungry. But man, that's tough with their shoulders, both of them. Dude, Clays is pretty badass. She's confident. And Sponsel's legit. So maybe those 2 teams, my dark horses. I'm so bad at this one today. I can't. I'm very indecisive.
I mean, I think the 2 that make it are the first 2. Sarah Summer, April Alex.
I think Summer's been capable of playing at that level for so long now. She just didn't really. She couldn't put it all together and like line the pieces up to be like a dominant world tour force. So she was just like, ball goes up, I'll play. But you have to have some intention behind what you're doing, when you're playing, why you're doing it, when you're peaking. And she has that with Sarah. Sarah's on top of it. She's like a little Misty May out there. And then she has Jose Loyola. Jose's been huge for them.
X Factor.
And he's been there before. Did he play in the Olympics? He could have. But he's played at the highest level, by far the highest level.
By his federation.
Oh, right, exactly. He was certainly capable of it, but he's won the biggest tournaments that there are to win. So that's that.
And then guys, Nick Phil, Jake Taylor, or just any of the new partnerships. The scramble has begun.
I'm thinking if Phil goes to the Olympics, I don't think he'll be with Nick. That's not a fact. I'm just guessing because Phil, Nick, and Hayden, they all moved to the East Coast, or Hayden's in Tennessee now, running beach programs. I can tell they're in that transition phase, and I don't know. Part of me just thinks that Phil's the only one who's talented enough to balance that half in, half out sort of thing. And of course, if Nick's not there, who's Phil going to call? Probably the best defender in the U.S. Taylor Trevor Crab. Maybe Taylor, and then that would shuffle things up. Jake and blah 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 all the way down. But yeah, me and Trev probably will qualify.
I mean, you're number one right now. Yeah.
I think there might be a shuffle, so teams will be different.
Yeah,
that's my bet.
I think so too. It's much easier to project on the women's side.
Right, but I mean, Hayden's said he's going for the Olympics. I don't know if it's official, like, reevaluate kind of thing, but everyone said they're going for it, so it's going to be a free-for-all shit show.
Qualifier guys say they're going for the Olympics too.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Hashtag Pro Beach Volleyball all over Instagram.
Yeah, it depends on who wants to. I mean, Mayer's out. Maybe some of these old guys fall off. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, that about wraps it up for our kind of anniversary Around the Horn.
Yeah,
PTI
I hope that was entertaining.
Episode. Yeah, if you want to email in and request topics or have questions, we are sandcastpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you guys next week on SANDCAST.